हरे कृष्ण। ओम ज्ञानं तिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। हरे कृष्ण. We will continue our discussion on the chapter of passing away of Bhishma Dev. We have covered till 10 shlokas, and in this, if you remember, you have some homework to do. You have to read the purports because it is telling it's information about different sages. So that's why I did not take much of it. We will do from 11th onwards. पाण्डुपुत्रान् उपासीना प्रश्रय प्रेम संगतान् अभ्याचष्टानुरागाश्रैर् अन्धिभ्यूतेन चक्षुषा. The sons of Maharaj Pandu were sitting silently nearby, overtaken with affection for their dying grandfather. Seeing this, Bhishmadev congratulated them with feeling. There were tears of ecstasy in his eyes, for he was overwhelmed by love and affection. When Maharaj Pandu died, his sons were all small children, and naturally they were brought up under the affection of elderly members of the royal family, specifically by Bhishma Dev. Later on, when the Pandavas were grown up, they were cheated by cunning Duryodhana and company, and Bhishma Dev, although he knew that the Pandavas were innocent and were unnecessarily put into trouble, could not take the side of Pandavas for political reasons. At the stage of his life when Bhishma Dev saw his most exalted grandson headed by Maharaj Yudhishthir sitting very gently at his side, the great warrior grandfather could not check his loving tears, which were automatically flowing from his eyes. He remembered the great troubles suffered by the most pious grandson. Certainly, he was the most satisfied man because of Yudhishthir's being enthroned in the place of Duryodhana, and thus he began to congratulate them. So we were having some discussion on how the karma forms, because this is a very important point here. How does karma affect living entities? So last session we had this discussion how karma affects and what are different. So again we will continue the discussion a little bit before going. By end of this chapter I want for devotees karma and for outsiders karma and everything, how it affects. Basically what it is karma, and very important is how to burn karma. This is what we all are eagerly looking for. So I will share the screen. Of course, this is I have one class in the morning. We have brahmachari class, so in that I take this. So this only we have further. Yeah. So this is our lesson. It's in the same way. So we are discussing how there is an action and there is reaction. Reaction has two components. Reaction comes in form of what type of body we get: mind, opulence, talent, pleasure, success, pain, distress, family, happiness, relationship. All is because of karma, and that karma is because of past life till the age of 4 and the rest of life. So these are the three parts where our karma is what do you call program. So this is how the programming happens. Now another part of karma is impressions. This is the most difficult thing, and what we can work on is this part only. This part is already done. Of course we have the C part is then a rest of life, that is also in our hand. And then what we have is to work on our impressions. So this part we have to work very hard, and we have already created, and because of which that we are acting the way we are, the way whatever way we are acting is because of impressions. Now if I am seeing mango, I have impression of mango, that's why I like mango. Now if I don't have impression of mango, say one devotee, he was telling that one time they brought mangoes to Russia. That person never saw mangoes only, he thought some potatoes, yellow potatoes. And he didn't care. If he knows it is mango, he would have completed it overnight. But point is there are no impressions only. If your non impressions are not created, then you You don't have. So this is actually what. And then we have another important thing about karma, because now Bhishma is going to speak on this part. That's why I'm trying to make us understand what exactly is karma. So what all when Krishna is telling to Arjuna that you have to perform your prescribed duties. Why he's telling perform your prescribed duties? Basically, he's telling because you already have this impression, you will force to work anyway. Basically, karma yoga is what? To make a person based on his impressions perform that activity properly. He has certain tendencies, he has certain inclinations, he has certain mindset. All that things should be properly engaged. And if it is engaged in a proper way, then he can come out of it. That's how the karma yoga is functioning. Like say, if he has a tendency for administration, better he become a kshatriya. If he has tendency to learn, brahmana means what? Till the end of life, you will learn and only learn. Like deathbed also you want to learn something. That is a brahmana. Now, if you keep him in a shudra job, put him in a software job, he will be completely frustrated. This is where the problem comes. People say without attachment you cannot work, and if you are working, then we become more attached. How can you, if you are not attached, then we will not be responsible for that activity. That is the point. When Krishna is linked, detachable. Detachment means why I should work, Baba. And then if you are working means the responsibility, attachment is automatically there. But this is what is karma yoga. You may all know, but I'll just tell you why it is important to do according to our nature activity. This is the very important understanding. Please try to hear. What happens is if I do what I like, it will become easy to do it without expecting any results. Say now I want to teach. If I like teaching, no matter you have 2 people or 3 people or even 1 person also, because I like teaching, I am not interested in the number. If I continue doing teaching, that means without expecting any result I do, I'll get purified. And I can go, I'll get higher things. I'll be free from my karma, I'll be free from my vasanas, I'll gain knowledge. This is actually what happens. Now, if somebody is interested in doing welfare activity for other social service and all, if he is doing no matter how, he'll be happy in doing it. And nowadays they call this, they understood of all researchers and all these people, they call it as signature strength. And they say that you have to do some time in a week, you work, what is your signature strength. That means you like to teach, you do it, but without any expectations. Then you will be happy. So this is not our research. Krishna is already telling Shreyam Swadharma Vigna, you do your Swadharma. This Swadharma according to them is signature strength. You do like that, you will be happy, they say. And by doing it, what happens is, so yes, I will write. Otherwise, you will forget. So, what Krishna is telling? Do activity. So, if you do activity according to nature, then what is thing is, we will not be attached to result. We are okay because I like to do it, teach, no matter what. So, we can. I'm not good in typing. So please don't make so attachment. So we can do without attachment to result. So this is what is very important, and this is what people call a signature string. If you read any, this is signature. This is where people now what Karma Yoga does is help person work on his development of making a perfect Brahmana. perfect Kshatriya, perfect Shudra, perfect Vaishya, so that he can do it without any difficulty. Now, because everybody is interested in money, everybody is interested in only one thing, then they do which they should not do, and then they are completely unhappy. Say now I am doing my activity, I am teaching. Now, because I am happy doing it, I don't need separately anything. This itself is sufficient for me. But if I say do a software job and which is not at all mine, I'm already frustrated. 10 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, I'm doing software which I don't like. Then after coming home, what I'll do? I suffered so much 9 hours. Let me go for some entertainment. So I want to make myself little peaceful. So instead of what happens is, instead of using my time for higher purpose, I use my time for sense gratification, because anyway I didn't like what I am doing. At least now let me use in front of TV, in front of Netflix and whatever mobile, let me chill out because I got. But if I do an activity which I already like, then I don't need any separate entertainment. That itself is satisfying the heart, because heart is not satisfied, we go for all this entertainment. If a heart is already satisfied by doing what I like, then what I do, I come, okay, let me go for higher thing, let me meditate, let me do yoga, let me understand something. This is actually what happens. So there is a question, but many times we are being obliged to do certain activity as per the family situation, or it could be the instruction of spiritual master. That says how should be our mood so that we happily take up that service. We can request spiritual master, whatever you like to do for him, you can do. If you want to do service to the deities for the on behalf of spiritual master, or you want to do preaching, you want to write books, or you want to teach, you want to whatever is on behalf of spiritual master, do what is more helpful to you. In that way you can do more service to spiritual master. Say now I like to teach. If I am told to do management, I cannot do, I will be frustrated, I will do disservice by my spiritual master. If I told to teach, it will be easy for me also, and I can do a good job work, whatever little bit I can do some job for my spiritual master. It's like that. Now present situation is so bad that everybody has to do so many things which they don't like. That is the reason we have people say at least weekly sometime you take and do what you like without any expectation of result. You'll be very peaceful and happy. So in that way we'll be free from our karma vasanas. That's a solution. Okay, we'll not go more on that. It's all, again I'll not want to take third chapter of Bhagavad Gita for all of you, second and third chapter, but I just wanted to make this one point, why we need to do the activity which we are meant to. Swadharma, or the activity according to our nature, is very much important, because we can do it without, and then what happens, our heart is satisfied, and because of which no need of entertainment. Already satisfied. You do some frustrating activity, then we need entertainment. It's like that. So sometime in a week, if we are doing something which you don't do, the job is not matching yours, then what we do, weekly some activity we have to choose which is of our interest. Say book distribution, I like to go and give, I like to go and market, I like to do something for some activity which we like, do it for Krishna. Then we'll, but there is a question, Roji, but we do just that activity we like, then Roji, will it be unmotivated service? Yeah, because the result is not for us. Na? See, now that's what I am telling. Now I like to teach. It does not matter how much result, 1 or 10. How many people are attending is not important for me. That fellow is understanding me, not is important. It's not with the result, because let Krishna be happy. I am doing it for my spiritual master, and I will be benefited because my spiritual master will please. So that's all. Our motivation is to please my Guru. But I am doing what I can do nicely. That's all. Motivation is to please Guru only. Motivation is not changing. What changes is service change. I like to do service which is according to my nature, then I will do like that. You say now this is the way I teach. Now I cannot imitate somebody else teaching. That is not my nature. Somebody says, Broji, your teaching is too like a classroom. But this is what I like. This is what I can do. So I like to be a teacher and do it. So it becomes easy for me. If I tell, okay, Proji, very fiery, motivational, not possible. So, but I can do this teaching, and there will be some audience who want this type of teaching, and they'll be happy. I can do nicely for my guru. That's all. Very simple. Clear? So, then here comes, anyway, this is not our way. I just wanted to touch this topic. Now, here, what we had to work is, so now how to burn karma. This is a very important understanding. How this karma applies, and we are all actually all are interested to, we're all interested to burn our karma in different ways, but somehow it does not work. How we burn our karma is going to doctors, going to astrologers, and doing so many uh, carrot juice or vegetable juice. All these things people follow, so many things to reduce their problems in their body and all. It's all basically trying to overcome karma only, right? People are trying, working very hard to change their financial situations, working on relationships, so many things they do. It's all basically changing karma, but how exactly to change, this is a very important lesson. But before we go to that, and just this is the topic we'll be discussing in this chapter. We're going to cover about this karma, but before that we'll go with the syllabus also. We'll just take few more verses and then I'll come back to it. Now here, Bhishmadev was feeling so much affectionate for the Pandavas. This Prabhuji is covering also so much of this. That's why I'm not taking directly what is, because the storyline is also coming. I'm trying to add some more things which will be helpful for our personal spiritual life. That's why I'm trying to take some other topics. So here, Bhishmadev, I'll also add some. So yeah, Bhishmadev is feeling so much for Pandavas, and we can see how much happy Bhishmadev will be, because he was always feeling that they were not treated properly, and then now at the end of his life, he's a very happy man. So this is a very famous verse, and this just one verse. That's all. Yudhishthir Maharaj is pacified, which Yudhishthir Maharaj could not be pacified, but all the stories, all the instructions, everything by Vyasdev, Dhaumya, Krishna, and many other personalities. Even other Pandavas also they chastise Yudhishthir and try to pacify him. Kunti and Bhima, Arjuna, Draupadi, everybody told Yudhishthir. Yudhishthir was not listening. Not only sages, Nakula, Sahadeva, everybody tells to Yudhishthir. But Yudhishthir was still crying. So then, but Bhishmadev, one shloka, Aho kashtam aho nyayam yadyuyam dharma nandana Jivatam nartham klishtam vipra dharma achyutashraya. Of course, next shloka, not this shloka, but he tells, he does this, how you went through it. Of course, this 2-3 shlokas only is convinced. So he says, Aho kastam, aho nyayam. Bhishmadev says, oh, what terrible suffering, what terrible injustice. You good souls have had to suffer for being the sons of religion personified. You did not deserve to remain alive under those tribulations, yet you are protected by the Brahmanas, God, and religion. Now we can see this in another way also. In spite of Vipra Dharma Achyutashraya, Vipra is Brahmanas, Dharma is following Dharma, and Achyutashraya is taking shelter of Krishna. In spite of all these three things, Yudhishthir Maharaj went through all the calamities, Kashtam, Anyayam. And that's what is actually Bhishma is feeling. How is it possible? You are taking shelter of Dharma, Achyuta, and Brahmanas, but still you went through. So he was having Vipra. The Raumya Rishi was always with Pandavas, guiding them. And they're always taking up shelter of Krishna. And Yudhishthir Maharaj, he completely followed Dharma. Even when Yaksha was asking, when all the 4 brothers of Yudhishthir died, and Yaksha asked, okay, you answer my questions, Yudhishthir answers, and Yaksha asks, which brother you want alive? He says, Nakula. Yaksha becomes quite surprised. He said, at least you have Bhima or Arjuna, you'll win the war. What you will do with Nakula? Then he says, no, my father has 2 mothers, two wives, and I am alive from Kunti side, and from Madri son also somebody should be alive. So Yudhishthira is such a pakka person. He's not attached. He's not affected. He says, okay, whatever happens. That means he's not attached to kingdom. That's why Krishna want him to become the king. If you are attached, then you will only do injustice. This is actually what happens. People think I want to do some good thing for my children. Then reduce the attachment. Then you can do something very good. Because attachment means there is exploitation. That is the problem. That means you expect something from the other person. That is what is because of attachment. If you are not attached, you don't expect. You only serve. Then it will be best. Even relation between wife and husband also same thing. There is expectation is the cause of all the trouble. You just serve, but not possible, right? Yeah, because for me, I can easily say I'm not in a situation. I can make statements, but I'm just telling the standards. I don't know. If I'm in any situation, I'll not be able to do it. I know it for sure. But at least this is the standard. We all have to follow. So Maharaj Yudhishthira was disturbed due to the great massacre in the Battle of Kurukshetra. Bhishma could understand this, and therefore he spoke first of the terrible suffering of Maharaj Yudhishthira. He was put into difficulty by injustice only, and the battle of Kurukshetra was fought just to counteract this injustice. Therefore, he should not regret the great massacre. He wanted to point out particularly that they were always protected by the Brahmanas and the Lord, the religious principles. As long as they were protected by these three important items, there was no cause of disappointment. Thus, Bhishma encouraged Maharaj to dissipate his despondency. As long as a person is fully in cooperation with the wishes of the Lord, guided by the bona fide Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, and strictly following religious principles, one has no cause for despondency, however trying the circumstances of life. Bhishma, as one of the authorities in the line, wanted to impress this point upon Pandavas. So, quite simple. So, yeah, what is the root cause of expectations? What happens is Krishna is telling there are three places our enemies are staying. Our enemy is lust, Krishna tells. And what are the places of lust? He says mind, senses, and intelligence. So the root cause of expectations is the lust in the intelligence. So initially the buddhi, when we person, boy and girl, they went into relation, they are meeting and now they are developing some relation. So then there is zero expectations from each other. That's why they experience great amount of pleasure, but unfortunately lasts from 4 minutes to 4 months only. What happens is initially it is very pure, and that's why in the formula boy plus girl plus Krishna as factor is also there. That's why they are happy. But what happens is because there is no expectation. But problem is with our lust. Sorry, problem the lust in the intelligence. The lust in the intelligence will corrupt. Slowly it manifests. And how it manifests? It manifests as expectations. We have to cure our buddhi. The place of lust in our buddhi should be cleared. Until unless that is cleared, we cannot come out of these expectations. That is, and I don't know how it is, how to get rid of it by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That is the easiest form. Of course, many other things are there. We have Manasiksha, so many instructions of mind are there to overcome. But the most easiest way for all of us, and even this reading of the scriptures also is one way helping to overcome the lust that is present in our intelligence, our buddhi. Clear, Mataji? So here Maharaj Yudhishthira was disturbed by the great massacre that happened in the battlefield, and Vishwadev could understand. Yeah, this is So this is what Bhishmadev is seeing, and he's also. This is actually very interesting how Yudhishthira Maharaj went through it, in spite of so much following properly. This is what this material world is. He was always protected by Brahmanas, Krishna, and he was following Dharma. But still, it went because that's what Krishna wants. That's what his mental world is, and it is not actually by chance things happen in this world. There is a purpose for everything, and Krishna has a very good reasons for doing it. And this is what so he says, as far as my daughter-in-law Kunti is concerned, upon the great General Pandu's death, she became a widow and with many children, and therefore she suffered greatly. And when you are grown up, she suffered a great deal also because of your actions. Purport. The suffering of Kunti Devi is doubly lamented. She suffered greatly because of early widowhood and to get her minor children brought up in the royal family. And when her children were grown up, she continued to suffer because of her son's actions. So her suffering continued. This means that she was destined to suffer by providence, and this one has to tolerate without being disturbed. Yeah, lust means controlling, lauding propensity to desire to enjoy, desires, and many desires we have, many desires to fulfill. That is the reason. What happens is I cannot selflessly serve. If I start selflessly serving, after some time I start expecting from the person because of the lust. If that lust is not there, whole life we can selflessly serve without expecting anything from anyone. Because the lust, what happens? The desire start manifesting. Arey, I gave so much class, now I'm asking donation, they are not giving. So this is a problem. So you don't have any donation, you are giving free classes. Then no, then Buddhi will say, okay, no problem. No, then Buddhi will say, okay, anyway, you are not taking money. At least they should appreciate your class. They should say thank you for your class. So like that, after some time, these thoughts will come. Arey, nothing. So we had to do activities in such a way our Buddhi is slowly pacified and now selflessly start doing things. So, okay, second line of this shloka only. She suffered greatly. What her what here the actions of Pandavas refer to. Basically, actions of Pandavas means what happened to them. Not that they did something wrong, but something that happened to them. So actions means because of they have to go through so many tribulations. That is also paining. They did not themselves do anything. It happened to them. That's basically what Bhishma Dev is trying to explain here. And And so this is another famous shloka. This is what actually Bhishmadev gives his diagnosis. Maybe tomorrow I'll elaborate on it. This is very nice diagnosis. I'll see if whatever permits time. I have few more topics, just 2-3 more important things to cover, and then we'll see this. Sarvam kalam kritam manye bhavatam yadapriyam sapalo yadvashe loko vayoribhaganavali. In my opinion, so now Bhishmadev is telling the reasons why Pandavas went through suffering. So I will also give some more points of this. In my opinion, this is all due to inevitable time, under whose control everyone in every planet is carried, just as clouds are carried by the wind. Now, this is a good reason. Good reason means this is no reason only in one way because nobody need to blame. What to do? Time. We all say, "Na, kya karenge? Time aisa hai." And if somebody is like, no, whom to blame? Prabhu, what can we do? Kali Yuga, Prabhu. Kali Yuga means you are not blaming anyone. You are just blaming the time. Time is like that. What can the whole government is like this, people are like this, whole society is like this. What can be done? Time. So this is what Vishnu is also giving in one. There is control by time all over the space within the universe, as there is control by time all over planets. All the big gigantic planets, including the sun, are being controlled by the force of air, as the clouds are carried by the force of air. Similarly, the inevitable time or inevitable kala or time controls even the actions of the air and other elements. Everything, therefore, is controlled by the supreme kala, a force representative of the Lord within the material world. Thus, Yudhishthir should not be sorry for the inconceivable action of time. Everyone has to bear the actions and reactions of time as long as one is within the conditions of material world. Yudhishthir should not think that he has committed sins in his previous birth and is suffering the consequence. Even the most pious has to suffer the conditions of material nature. But a pious man is faithful to the Lord, and for he is guided by the bona fide Brahmanas and Vaishnavas following the religious principles. These three guiding principles should be the aim of life and should not be disturbed by the tricks of eternal time. Even the great controllers of the universe, Brahmaji, is also under the control of time. Therefore, one should not grudge being thus controlled by time despite being a true follower of religious principles. This is a very simple understanding. We have to, we are all under control of time. Kalosmi Lokakshekatu. Yesterday also we were discussing this in Narsindev, Narsin Chaturdasi also about time. How Prahlad is talking about. Now here also, Bhishma Dev is also telling the same thing. If you don't want to blame anybody, you can say time. So he will not take offense anyway. If you say because of him, then everybody will take offense. If you say time, no offense, it's a neutral. And it is true also in one way because everything is because of time factor. And what Bhishma is telling is, but a pious man is faithful to the Lord and how can we reconcile the verse Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno Yatra Pato Tatra Sri Vijayobhuti Dhruva Nitirmatir Mama? Yeah, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, there will be success, there will be victory, there will be morality, there will be all these things, and Krishna is there. And ultimately, it happened also. Yudhishthir got all the things because that's what Sanjaya's conclusion. Sanjaya says, because Krishna is there, they will be victorious. At the end, they came victorious. Actually, it's not just this one thing. Krishna wanted to teach many things to the Pandavas. This is the one lesson that where Krishna is there, ultimately it is victorious. That is the one lesson only. But Krishna, through Pandavas, he wanted to teach at different levels of dharmas to different types of people and at what situation, how to act. If you're going through certain turmoil in your life, what should be our guiding light? Who will guide it? Say if somebody is in a situation like this, now he has to take a decision. What decision he will take? That's what Yudhishthir is showing. See, even when my all other brothers died, I had to choose which brother. I am still following dharma. Now, this example Yudhishthir is setting. And then how Kunti is responding to Krishna, how Draupadi is doing. When Durvas Muni comes with Akshay Patra, only one grain is remaining. Now, what Krishna is trying to teach is he's teaching many things from Mahabharata. It's not just so when Pandavas are going through some tribulations and all, it is not that every time they should be always prosperous. Then where is Mahabharata? King Yudhishthir, Krishna, Yudhishthir is a devotee of King Lord Krishna, and then he is prosperous rest of his life. There is no Mahabharata. But when he go through all these things, it will help us how we have to deal. That is more beneficial. Yeah. So another thing is like this when I ride journey home, and then that actually we may think, "Hey, why my spiritual master has to go so many things?" That actually helps. What happens is, okay, if he went through such a turmoil situation and how he accepted it, and for my life I don't have such a big problem, so why I should be so much disturbed? If he went through such a dangerous situation, but still he was very stable, and he acted in a particular way. Now by seeing that, I get inspiration that if I get some problem, and I will immediately relate, okay, what my spiritual master went through. He went through so much, and what he acted. Why I should be so much complaining, grudging, and blaming others? Let me also accept with humility and go on with my life. That is the thing. So Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna is true for one part, but there are other things Krishna want to teach. That's why he made Pandavas go through all these things, so that it is to guide us. Pandavas, they are already malleable. For them there is no need. They are blissful because they don't enjoy material. That is a very important thing. We all have to remember this. Pandavas don't enjoy material things. They enjoy spiritual. Krishna does not enjoy material things. He also enjoy spiritual things. And Krishna is completely spiritual, and even the Pandavas, who are great devotees, they have this material opulence, but they don't enjoy much. Their enjoyment is Krishna only. Their enjoyment is relation with Krishna. They may have it, but it's okay for them. Not there also, they are okay. Yudhishthir Maharaj, he is in the forest happy. He is as a king also happy. I think in the forest more happy because he's always with the sages, hearing all the Puranas and all. That's what made Bhima and Arjuna and Draupadi unhappy. You fellow, you're just like a Brahmana. So, but he was happy both the places. Same thing with others also. They're happy in whatever situation because they always have Krishna. Vipada Santita Shashast Tatra Tatra Jig. Bhavato Darshana. So, this is actually, I will more elaborate on this shlokas tomorrow. I just wanted to one. I'll just read these 2 3 purports because I'll always be fearful of completing the syllabus. So I will not go detail, but I will see some shlokas will take. I will try to. Yatra dharmasuto rajan gada panir rukodaraha krishno astra gandivam chapam Surhut Krishnastato Vipat. He says, oh, how wonderful is the influence of inevitable time. It is irreversible. Otherwise, how can there be reversals in the presence of King Yudhishthir, the son of demigod controlling religion? Itra Dharma Suto, the son of Dharma. And next is Bhima, the great fighter with club, and the bowman Arjuna. So he says, Gada Pani Rukodaraha. With Gada and Bhima is there, and Krishna Astra Gandivam Chapam. Here Krishna is Arjuna. And then along with that, Suhut Krishna. And they have directly well-wisher of the Pandavas. Uh, Above all, Lord, the direct well-wisher of the Pandavas. So Krishna is also there, Arjuna is there. And but still, they went through all these things. What is the influence of inevitable time? So now he is still on the time factor only, but other factors also will come in eventually. He will give other reasons. He's telling how time. As far as the material or spiritual resources were required, there was no scarcity in the case of the Pandavas. Materially, they were well equipped because 2 great warriors, namely Bhima and Arjuna, were there. Spiritually, the king himself was the symbol of religion. And above all of them, the personality of Godhead Lord Sri Krishna was personally uh, concerned with their affairs as well the well-wisher. And yet, there were so many reversals on the side of the Pandavas. Despite the power of the pious act, the power of the personalities, the power of expert management, the power of weapons under the direct supervision of the Lord Krishna, the Pandavas suffered so many practical reverses which can only be explained due to the influence of Kala. Inevitable time. Kala is identical with the Lord himself, and therefore the influence of Kala indicates the inexplicable wish of the Lord himself. There is nothing to be lamented when the matter is beyond the control of many humans. Just a minute. Hare Krishna. So here, this is again, he is still on the point of Kala only. How the time is the factor that is the cause of everything. This is what he's trying to explain. So here, the Pandavas, they has great devotion. Uh, yeah, we will. I will just tell this one part how it is very important to. There is a special relationship that Krishna had with Pandavas. Eternally, there is associates. When he is in Dwaraka, in the spiritual world, Yudhishthir Maharaj also stays nearby. So Krishna goes to the spiritual world. Krishna goes to meet Yudhishthir Maharaj once in a while from Dwaraka. So they stay very nearby. And then he sends them to this material world to perform his pastimes. Pastime basically is to help them. He's going through different mm, situations and all to help them. So this is what we have to understand. So now I'll just read 2-3 purports, and then one point I wanted to make you understand about devotion part. This is uh, one thing I'll share. Today's class I was discussing with Brahmacharis, so maybe it will help you also. So here, yeah, we have discussed many of the things, but there is one thing I want to discuss is secret of success in devotion. How Pandavas are successful. The secret of success in devotion is concentration. Actually, this is concentration. Uh, there is bhakti in many places. Many people have bhakti. Even to materially success, actually, materially also, they are devoted to their company, devoted to the family, devoted to their work. This is all devotion only in one way. Without devotion, there is no success. There, there is a dedication and concentration comes because of this devotion. So this is the secret. And this concentration is through devotion. Like in Japanese companies and all, people want their their what do you call company to people, they want to be dedicated to it. So if they want dedication, means it's a devotion. And then there are devotions in other religions where we see people are having mixed devotional faith. They want something for themselves, and Lord is also. And then we have some pure devotional faith in uh, other sampradayas, Sri Sampradaya, Madhva Sampradaya. There is pure devotional faith. But what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give is something different. And Vishnudev is going to tell about that also in the end. About gopis, he also will tell. This type of devotion is something very special. Now, what is here? How this devotion comes? First, we need to develop faith. From faith comes devotion, and then comes concentration. This is how the process is. And this concentration on Krishna is what we need at the end of life. We'll be able to go to Krishna with concentration. We should be able to concentrate. Our, and how this happens? These two things happens when we have identity. So this identity, presently identity, this ahankar is I and mine. And I and mine, ahankar also means our ideas, what I value, what I like. All these things are our wrong identities. But we should have an identity of I am servant of Guru. This is the right identity. Now, please try to understand how devotion, how we will develop our devotion. This point I want to tell here. We develop our devotion when we work on identity. When I identify myself as servant of Prabhupada, servant of Guru, servant, we cannot identify servant of all the Vaishnavas at a time. But for Guru, it is easy a little bit. Prabhupada also little easy. I am servant of Prabhupada. Then what happens? Because now presently the ahankar is wrong. It is all false ego. But this is really, this is false. This is false ego. But this is real ego. So real ego is I identify. So then what happens? How to identify as servant of Guru? We follow his instructions, we serve him, and most important, taking responsibility. So if we don't take responsibility, nothing will happen much. What is responsibility? Responsibility means identity. I identify with that. Say, father, there are so many children playing, but one person sees one child, he says, I have to take care of the child. Why this person is feeling that I have to take care of the child? Because he feels responsible for the child. Why he is feeling? Because he thinks I am father of the child. That's why he's doing. So when you identify, we take responsibility. When I identify myself as servant of Guru, then I take responsibility on behalf of Guru. And when you take responsibility, then what happens? Then devotion and concentration comes. Then what happens? Success will come. So this is the success. Secret of success is concentration. So we will be successful when we concentrate on our service. Service comes when we identify, when we take responsibility. This is how the system is. We follow these things, it will be helpful for us in our spiritual growth. We'll be able to overcome all our conditioning slowly. This is from yesterday's topic. Yesterday, what Prahlad was telling. No, Naisha Matirstavatur Kramangre Surhantanatu Mahiyasham Padarajo Bhishekam. So, how? When we are attached to our Guru, when we identify with it, then slowly things will change in our life. This one point I want to share. Again, I'll repeat for you. So, secret of success in so secret to success is devotion, and that is devotion. With devotion, what comes? Concentration. To get concentration, devotion, we need to have faith. And then we saw that how it comes is because presently our identity is false. If we identify rightly with Guru, then what we do? We start following his instructions, do some service, and more importantly, we take responsibility of our service. Responsibility means what? Responsibility because we identify. When responsibility comes, concentration, devotion, and success. Right. So, just wanted to share that one point from today's we are having brahmachari discussions. Now we will just go for few more purports and then tomorrow we will elaborate on them. Nahi yasya tarhi chitrajan pumam veda viditsutam yat vijñāsaya yukta muhyanti kavayo apihi. O king, no one can know the plan of Lord Sri Krishna, even though great philosophers inquire exhaustively, they were willed. The bewilderment of Maharaj Yudhishthira over his past sinful acts and the resultant suffering, etc., is completely negated by the great authority Bhishma Dev, one of the 12 authorized persons. Bhishma Dev wanted to impress upon Maharaj Yudhishthira that since the time immemorial, no one, including such demigods as Shiva and Brahma, could ascertain the real plan of the Lord. So, what can we understand about it? It is useless also to inquire about it. Even the Even the exhaustive philosophical inquiries of the sages cannot ascertain the plan of the Lord. The best policy is simply to abide by the orders of Lord without argument. The suffering of the Pandavas were never due to their past deeds. The Lord has to execute the plan of establishing the kingdom of virtue, and therefore his own devotees suffered temporarily in order to establish the conquest of virtue. Bhishmadev was certainly satisfied by seeing the triumph of virtue, and he was glad to see King Yudhishthir on the throne, although he himself fought against him. Even a great fighter like Bhishmadev could not win the battle of Kurukshetra because the Lord wanted to show that vice cannot conquer virtue, regardless of who tries to execute it. Vishnudev was a great devotee of the Lord, but he chose to fight against the Pandavas by the will of the Lord because the Lord wanted to show that a fighter like Vishnudev cannot win on the wrong side. Actually, Bhishmadev also went through so much turmoil because it's an indirect suffering. Like no direct suffering is there, there is indirect suffering. Indirect suffering is if your people are going through some very bad situation, that also gives pain. Bhishmadev had to see Pandavas going through pain all his life. So it was giving him indirectly so much pain also. Because he likes Pandavas and he's seeing they are going through so many troubles and he's not able to be with them. And now at the end of his life, when Pandavas are successful, Vishnu cannot stay with them. He has to leave. So in that way, this is how the design of material world is. So and they were not when they were in the forest and other places, they could not stay. Of course, when they were sometime in Indraprastha, that time Vishnu was happy, but he could not stay with them. He was staying always in Hastinapur only. And now everything is done, and Pandavas are successful, and Vishnu has to live. So only some time he's getting to see Yudhishthir. That also not that he's in a royal throne. Vishnu is also with him to help him to do the management of the state affairs and all. It's not like that. Now Vishnu is just giving his guidance and he's moving away. And he could not stay with Pandavas for long. So it's quite painful for Vishnu. But of course, he is also understanding this is the will of Lord. So he's also accepting it. So we also have to accept. And I'm not taking all the like Kuddimana. So here he gives one more. O best of the descendant of Bharata Yudhishthir, I maintain therefore that all this is within the plan of the Lord. Accepting the inconceivable plan of the Lord, you must follow it. You are now the appointed administrative Lord, and my Lord, you should now take care of this those subjects who are now rendered helpless. That's all. Yudhishthira is pacified within this sloka. The popular saying is that the housewife teaches the daughter-in-law by teaching the daughter. Similar, the Lord teaches the world by teaching the devotees. The devotees does not have to learn anything new from the Lord because the Lord teaches the sincere devotees always from within. Whenever, therefore, a show is made to teach the devotees, as in the case of teaching of Bhagavad Gita, it is for teaching the less intelligent men. A devotee's duty, therefore, is to ungrudgingly accept tribulations from the Lord as a benediction. The Pandavas are advised by Bhishmadev to accept the responsibility of administration without hesitation. The poor subjects were without protection due to the battle of Kurukshetra, and they were awaiting the assumption of power by Maharaj Yudhishthira. A pure devotee of Lord accepts tribulations as favor from the Lord. Since the Lord is absolute, there is no mundane difference between the two. That's all. So this is the point here. So any questions, comments before we end today? Okay, thank you all very much. I'll meet tomorrow. Hare Krishna.